Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday, the 23rd of August. So, looking at the euro dollar, and as I said yesterday, we may get a bit tied up around this area with the 50, the daily 50, 34 trend line, and sure enough, we have. Now, the question is, it actually broke it, which is a good sign. Although we often get a bit of overrun on these trend lines, so it may be in sellers coming in a little bit after the event, but it's the question really now is are we going to see a push on upwards again? There is potential. The smaller moving averages are starting to curl around quite nicely. It looks okay. I'm looking at sort of looking around the markets, what else is happening, and well, to me it looks like it could be a bullish morning. The only thing is I don't really want to be taking it quite yet. We have got news coming out at 8:15, 8:30. I'd like to see that out of the way first. Now I've drawn a trend line here, but any sort of negativity, if it gets back towards that 4-hourly 21, I know it's been tapped before, but might be of interest around that sort of zone. Got sort of two different trend lines here. Actually, I've got the 4-hour, I've got the sort of more longer term version here where we're still positive. From a 60-minute point of view, might have a bit more of a correction here, so hence why I'm not dashing into this. The range yesterday ended up quite tight, so we may just end up with being in a tighter range. It broke that short-term trend line yesterday, and it sort of put lower high in, a confirmed lower high in, but this may just be a sort of a correction phase within a bigger move, and as I said, the bigger move, the trend is still up there. So that's that. These sentiment wise, I was looking at sentiment this morning actually, and it's interesting how quickly everyone starts getting short on something that's moving up, and well, with the retail traders losing so much money, you're almost better off trading against them. They're moving towards a sort of 60% short side of things on some of the brokers there, and which to me suggests, well, perhaps hang in there on the long side and keep looking for the longs. But as I say, technically on the bigger picture there, it's still really a long picture. There's no divergences across the MACD. There may be a bit on the RSI, tad maybe on the RSI running across there, but well, that's already pulled right way back on the RSI now, so it may have worked its way off. So bigger picture, still talking about the euro, sorry, but the upside potential may be towards that 4-hourly 500 next. Right, let's see if we can get there and break that trend line on the dailies. Right, let's have a quicker look now at the pound, and the pound hasn't gone quite as far yet, hasn't come up to any sort of major resistance as of yet, but well, we'll see. It's pushing, well, pushed up towards the 21, struggling with that 21. May manage to push on up beyond and move up towards the well, looking really now at the 4-hourly, the weekly R3. So bit of divergence came in on the 4-hourlies as well, and again it's sort of possibly worked itself off, but let's just watch this morning, see what happens, see how much more it pulls back. Now it is running a little bit slower there, but let's just see how it pulls back. It may, I've got an old, let me just get rid of this old pitchfork, there we go. It may well pull back into or push back up later on, so I'm just going to be sitting waiting for that a little bit at the moment. Okay, dollar yen. Dollar yen, so the dollar yen, it's well, continuing its shove up here on a daily basis. It's continues softening. As I said yesterday, it seems that, well, the risk off, risk on and basis, it's just continuing. You're seeing the dollar strength coming through against the yen here, which could suggest there's risk going back on, and money's coming out of the yen, as I said, to go into more riskier assets. So it's hanging in there so far. Goodness. Bit of divergence there on the 60-minute here. We've got an untouched daily pivot below. This could roll over at some point, I guess, but we'll just wait and see this morning. But could roll over at least back to the 60.21. So we'll see what the other market's doing. If the pound and the euro start edging up, well, maybe we'll get a bit more correlation back on this as the market's coming through. At the moment, it's certainly been the weaker, and part of that may be the fundamental data coming out. So yeah, got the potential. Some of that movement, of course, it may not just be risk. Aussie dollar. Well, the Aussie dollar, that too had a bit of a disappointing day yesterday. Edged up and ended up negative there, inside bar. We've broken the lows of that inside bar and shot down. Sorry, I'm just going on to news events. We have got news out for Europe in a short while. We haven't had any Aussie news, so this is dollar strength coming through the Asian session there, and it's eaten up almost half of that upward move at the moment. So, well, perhaps we'll see a bit more of a correction, but certainly the Aussie's been affected by the Chinese data as well. So any Chinese data that's been coming out is quite negative. It's seeing the knock-on effects as that too comes out, and that's probably the reasoning behind what we're seeing here. As I said, it's given up quite a lot quite quickly. Has it got more to roll over? Potentially. The way it's looking at the moment, it doesn't look anywhere near the best. Of course, thanks, just being reminded of the political crisis that's sitting there as well, is not helping things at all. So maybe if anything beneficial or more positive comes through from that, we'll see. But yeah, there is a political crisis to think of. But yeah, it's that certainly hasn't helped it through its own session there this morning. As I said, it's given up half of the movement there. It does look weak at the moment. However, on such news and such crises and things like this, sometimes you just see a bounce come back a little bit quicker, because yes, it's the economy or whatever else may not be the main kicker here. It's obviously a threat to stability in some respects, but generally the Reserve Bank of Australia, etc., and a lot of things will be carrying on as normal, and before you know where it is, sometimes you see a recovery. So if it's purely on that, maybe don't be too put off. But if we do start seeing a break of these lows here later and it continuing, well, there may be a go with on that. Canadian dollar. Okay, so yesterday ended up again another day gained against the US dollar here. A bit of a turnaround through the Asian session here, and certainly again pitched up there, broken the trend line. That was a near-term trend line on these hourlies. Looks more positive. Already hit the daily pivot R1. It may just stifle out a little bit here. We'll have to watch it this morning, but at the moment looks like it might have a little bit more upside. Let's just come back up the time frames a little bit here. There was some divergence kicking in on this more recent time frame, more recently I should say, sitting there. So maybe we'll get a bit more upside there, but I normally leave it to work the morning off and look at the afternoon, so it may come back in the afternoon and do something, so watch that later. But it's not very conclusive, and you can see how on the dailies you're getting lots and lots of days which are just up and down, quite whipsawy. So I should leave that for now. I was looking on the upside. If we start breaking this sort of trend line, would have been sort of looking for more long side, but maybe if it starts breaking this 100 moving average that's sitting across the lows there, we should be looking for the short side and continue down to looking towards that 200. Okay, news-wise today then, just running through briefly then at 8:15 we've got the French manufacturing and services data coming out. Not big news, but this combined with the 8:30 news, the German manufacturing services coming out there. And I also noticed that German Buber president Weidmann speaking as well at 8:30, so he can create some volatility. So between 8:15 through 8:30, maybe into towards 8:45, we may get some volatility through there. And then at 9 o'clock we got the European figure itself. Now with the French and German data coming out, the 9 o'clock is more of a blip than anything else. In general, it's been in the past, the French and German data really is the key data for it to be watching out for, but generally smaller movements, and sometimes it's conflicts, so it just doesn't seem to work, and it stifles the market anyway. But it's maybe best waiting for that to all come out this morning if you're trading on the euro. Okay, and later on for euro wise at 12:30 we've got the ECB monetary policy meeting accounts. As I said previously, that used to be a nothing but a news, because we used to get all the truth, but I still haven't forgiven Draghi for about 3 or 4 months ago when he obviously lied when they asked a question post meeting, and then we saw in the meeting minutes that they had actually talked about something. So lie, your pants are on fire. That ends for this morning's update. Have a great day. Bye for now.